All right. All right, round two. Round two. It's fine. It's fine. Yesterday was an interesting one. Got a good sleep. We're ready to go, ready to bounce back. It took a there's a lot more confirmation. Okay, like if it doesn't drop today, then something severely happened. There's almost 1,000% chance that it's going to drop very shortly. So hopefully you guys are excited. If you are, say hello in the chat, guys. It's expected that the media call day is going to be at 12:30 Eastern time, which means that honestly, it should drop any second. So I'm just going to do the usual Canada Soccer, bring you up, take a quick peek, and nothing yet. So it hasn't been dropped yet. Hasn't been dropped yet, but eventually, we shall see. But hopefully you guys are doing well. We did a long stream yesterday, as you guys know, and it wasn't released, but there was some interesting news that came this morning. A lot of you guys assume that maybe the reason that the roster was delayed was because of some potential dual nationals. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Daniel Jebsen, we're looking at you, flirting with us on social media. But unfortunately, Daniel Jebsen, whether he actually was interested or Canada was looking to bring him up, I don't know. But he was called up for the England U20s, which means that he will not be in this camp. So that was one of the big speculations that was going around with whether Daniel Jebsen was being included. I'm curious to see what's going on around that, to see if, there was actual conversations going on, if it didn't get done. But the other big one is Holmes. So I doubt that one is going to be anything. I've been pretty open with you guys. I don't think Holmes will be able to represent Canada anytime soon. But who knows? I mean, it's either just poor communication as usual from trying to get out the roster, or maybe there was something that happened, maybe some type of surprise. But one thing's for sure right now, we know for a fact that surprise will not be Daniel Jebsen, despite heavy rumors suggesting that. But there could be something else. I mean, from reports are saying that Joel Waterman was included, so I think that's a huge W for that. We spent a lot of time yesterday coming up with our squad, guys, you and I together as a group, which was good to see. And every single one of you guys had, including myself, Joel Waterman. So if the leaks are correct, it's good to see that Joel Waterman is included. But I'm guessing in 3 minutes it's going to drop. And if it doesn't, I'm going to be livid because I streamed for an hour and a half, had fun with you guys yesterday, but there was a point to the stream. And that was hopefully finding out our roster, because this is the most important camp before the World Cup. Obviously, it's the one directly before the World Cup. It is going to be the one that John Herdman gets to take a look at his players, figure out who he wants to start, figure out who he wants to come off the bench, who's going to play a significant role at the upcoming World Cup, and who's going to fill out the squad. That's what this camp's all about. So I am very, very excited to see who's going to be included, and we should be finding out soon. So hopefully if you guys are excited, drop a like on the stream, say hello in the chat, put out any of your bold claims. But let's get into the chat and see how you guys are doing today. As Luke Carey says, round two. This is round two. This is round two because yesterday, didn't go according to plan. My heart is ready. I am too because it's almost like it's going to be an expanded squad. My guess is that it will be 26 players, but because Hutch has been confirmed to not be there and Tajon Buchanan is confirmed to not be there, that will lead 2 other players being called up to camp. So it could be a big reason why Kolyosho's there. Maybe the fact that Cornelius and Waterman are there, which is a bit of a surprise to me that both were included. So I'm very curious to see how this squad rounds out. I'd be shocked if it was more than 26 players, but it's going to be fun. Matar's tuning in as well, probably keeping a special little eye on Alphonso Davies. Matar, how you doing, my friend? Been a difficult start to the season, like a little bit for Bayern. 3-0 to start off the season, but they've had their moments. They're looking pretty good. Davies is enjoying life there. I wouldn't be too worried quite yet. Greetings from Montreal. Cheers, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Great to be here with J and T. Hope you're keeping well. Yeah, Kelly said it. 43 people, only 7 likes. Come on, guys. We can get to 10, right? We can get to 10 likes. It's doable. Deja vu. Yeah. We did this stream yesterday. So everyone who tuned in yesterday for the stream for an hour and 40 minutes to get disappointing news that the roster wasn't going to drop. I appreciate you guys' support, and hopefully today we will have the stream that will actually, bring the content it was supposed to, and that is breaking down the upcoming roster. But I keep creeping around on Twitter. I'm expecting it to be dropped at noon. Usually, they like to drop it on the hour mark. So, I mean, considering the presser's at 12:30, I don't know. I'd be surprised if it wasn't there. But yeah, I mean, at least from yesterday's stream, there's been some interesting things to talk about. The fact that Hutch and Buchanan will not be at camp opens up some more places. Daniel Jebsen's got recalled back up to the England U20s. He will not be there. We know that Joel Waterman will be there. Cornelius, we know that will be there. It's gonna be interesting. This weekend is all about making sure that our Canadians stay fit and nothing happens to them. We want them fit. We want them at camp. Kelly says, great to see all you Canadian men's national team fans as well. Hope you guys are doing well. All of you. Yesterday's stream was fun. We did a lot in it, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be. Hi, hope you're doing well, my friend. I am. I'm just genuinely curious. I just want this roster drop. I want to take a look at it. I have so many questions. I want to see how many players that are actually brought into this camp, how the injuries of Buchanan and Hutch will affect who's potentially called in. The fact that Cornelius and Waterman are there, will there be a shocking player left out like maybe Henry or Cavallini? Tom Holmes, the little dream in the back of my head, you never know. So I just want it to be released. It's 12:01. Come on, Soccer Canada. You're usually better than this, and you didn't release it. I'm getting deja vu. They like to release it on the hour mark. So I am getting a little deja vu, the fact that it's not out. But keep me posted, guys. If you're keeping an eye on Soccer Canada's Twitter as well, just ring up the chat if you see that it is released, because I'm just going to be going through the comments here. Matar says, I need Davies to cook for Canada so I can clown every other fullback that plays for a better and more equipped country. Davies doesn't usually have much of an issue performing for Canada. My man gets licensed to do what he wants, and he's just a joy to watch. He's had a couple pretty impressive games for Bayern as well, which is good to see. Nagelsmann pretty much allows him to do what he does best and just kind of use, that more attacking flair down the left-hand side. But he had a couple good defensive recoveries last match as well, so it was good to see. He's had a good, strong start to the season. Let's go. Where will the Herdman press conference be aired? It's a good question. Let me see if I can find the link for it. I might put it in the chat for you guys. But I'm just refreshing to see, and it's still not announced. Man, I'm getting the deja vu. I really am. Josh, maybe some crazy thinking here, but given our lack of midfield depth, is there any chance we see Davies play inside? I hope not. I think Alphonso Davies is just too useful down the wing. That's where you're going to get him at his best, when he's running full pace at a defender, when he's got the opportunity to, whether it's down the left, down the right, to cut inside. I just think he'd be wasted. That's why I don't really like seeing Davies play as a striker, let alone with Cam. When you have someone who's just broke the record for the fastest sprint speed, or whatever his recent record was in the Bundesliga, that's someone you want playing on the wing. And he's just so deadly. And when you see him going up against, we've basically seen him go up against CONCACAF nations with that speed, that his dribbling ability to be able to pick out a pass. That is where you want him. And when we're taking on countries like Uruguay, which is going to be a big test, and then transitioning into Belgium, Croatia, Canada's going to have to defend. There's a specific strategy that I'm assuming they're going to use, and it's an old one. It's a good one. It's defend and it's hit on the counter. And when you're going to do that, you're going to have the ability of a Tajon Buchanan and Alphonso Davies hoping to break down a back line. And it's just as simple as that. I'm curious to see what the midfield's going to look like with Hutch, Osorio. Kay's not on form either. Like, we got Liam Fraser we can call upon. Kone we can call upon. The midfield's definitely a little light. I don't disagree. But if you're going to move someone towards the middle, I'd rather see someone like Junior Hoylett. Hoylett obviously getting up there in age. He can play as that second striker, that 10. I know he's playing as a wing back right now, but we've seen him slowly kind of transition into the midfield a little bit. So if you're pushing another winger in, that's probably the player I'd look to do. I can't see a way to take Davies' pace. It's undisputed for this national team. Having him and Buchanan just makes our team so deadly on the break. Thoughts on Jebsen with the U20s? I have a feeling, and again, this is not confirmation, but I have a feeling that he basically, I don't know. I want to say that there was a chance. I want to say that there was conversations, but I can't confirm that there was conversations that he could have maybe been at this window. That's what my gut's telling me. I don't know if it's true, but I have a feeling that maybe they're trying to figure out a way to get it done. It didn't happen, and now he got recalled with the England U20s, and it's not really a worry because I just did a video. It'll be out on One Soccer on Sunday, but I kind of talk about the fact that this window is going to be about getting the best 11 out there, getting the team to gel together, using players. And I don't know if you bring both of a Luka Kolyosho and a Daniel Jebison to a World Cup. I think you maybe bring one, and I kind of go into more details around that for the video and why it might be worth it, even though that these players, both Kolyosho and Jebison, are not killing it at their level. I mean, Kolyosho has only had a handful of appearances for Espanyol. Same can be said for Jebison. However, there's so much upside to capping one of these players. Kolyosho more than Jebison, in my opinion, because we're battling with the U.S. Similar style, similar ability. You got two host nations at the 2026 World Cup. So getting Kolyosho to commit to Canada over the U.S. is big because I think they both have a fighting shot for him. Same way that us and Serbia had a fighting shot for Mitrovic. Whatever was said and done, Serbia offered him something that we couldn't. Maybe it's a World Cup spot this year. I don't know. So I think getting him through the door is very important. And then Jebison, I just don't ever see him representing England. I don't. So I'm not overly worried. I think at one point he's going to play for Canada. I think clearly with him flirting with social media, there's some interest. He's also recently refollowed England. So maybe he was seeing some of the social media posts. But I think some way down the line, he's so young. Unless he just blows up, there's going to be a chance that we'll be able to get him at some point. But I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Herdman can use the 4-game suspension of Cavallini as an excuse to drop him for the roster. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I'd be surprised if he left Cavallini off, but I don't know the details about basically the suspension. I think I'm getting word though that the roster will drop just before 12:30. So you get me a little bit longer. But yeah, sounds like it. Yeah, it looks like it'll happen just before 12:30, guys. So we can speculate as well leading up to it, and then once it drops, we'll toss it up on the screen for you guys as well. Alex says I would play Davies left back, especially against Belgium, to help our defense. Play someone else up. Yeah, I disagree with that. I would never play Davies in any situation as a left back for Canada. The furthest back I'd play him is in a back 3 and play him as a wing back. You play him as a wing back, he's got license to basically come back and put in a defensive shift, which we know he can. But then he's got the ability to go forward. And there's no one who's got the ability to go forward in this national team like Davies does. And if you restrict him to a left back, unlike playing with Bayern, where you're going to have so much of the ball and he's got freedom to go forward, he's not going to be able to replicate that. You're going to completely isolate a player to a position that he's not going to influence the match. It's just as simple as that, the way that Canada will play. I have no problem playing him as a wing back. I think in a back 3, like I said, he could have a duty coming back, defending, doing what he does, because he does have a great improving defensive side to his game. But it's having that ability to break up possession and just completely switch on the front foot, and having someone like Davies already a little bit up the pitch. That is where you want him. I like him as a wing back for Canada in like a 3-5-2. I also like him in a 4-4-2 as a left mid. Tactics will vary when it comes to Belgium and Croatia. I'd expect him in like a 3-5-2 wing back situation. Then maybe like a 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, something like that against Morocco. But I don't think we'll ever see Davies play as a specific left back in a back 4 for Canada. You got to add a Kubi for that, and he can put in a good shift there as well. Herdman got the gut feeling for what we are playing. Keep up the good work, and looking forward to seeing the roster today. We're hoping. A lot of you guys were with us yesterday, and we appreciate it, but I'm hearing just before 12:30, guys. So we'll get there. But I appreciate the kind words, Dana. Hope you're keeping well today. It's crazy. Jebison is pretty Canadian, developed sometime there, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jebison grew up in Canada before going to England when I think he was like 13. But I don't know. Like I said, I have a good feeling at one point he will represent Canada. Unfortunately, the hype wasn't right now, but we got one young dual national in the door. We got Kolyosho. That's fantastic. That's the more pressure because you have, like I said, someone like the U.S. creeping around. He's a regional rival. Like this is a good opportunity to show him and see what this kid can do. Hopefully see him get into Espanol a little bit more and maybe bring him to a World Cup. Cap him. He's ours. And then 4 years later, who knows what Koleosho can turn into. But Jebison, like I said, I don't see Jebison in anytime soon getting near that national team for England, which keeps the door open. Because if you want to play at the international level, I mean, we're a good bet. We're hosts at 2026. We've got some competitive matches coming up as well. So it would have been nice maybe to get him over the door because he's such a hyped dual national, but it's not the end of the world that he's not in this camp. I hope the Gong Show in Vancouver doesn't. Well, I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. It was when Koleosho came up to that camp, and yes, you had 2 canceled friendlies. You had the contract issues. You had just a bunch of different things going on that I thought was going to scare the crap out of Koleosho. Or he could have looked at it and took a look at Davies, David, and big players like that coming together as a group and fighting for something that they believe in. So there's different ways to look at how he would have perceived that camp, and clearly it didn't scare him too much because he's right back here in the most important window leading up to a World Cup that there is. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I was nervous. I didn't think we were going to see Koleosho at this camp. So kudos to him and Herdman for getting him back in. And I'm excited and hopefully to actually see him play this upcoming one. What role does Cavallini play? Yeah, I mean, I'd say he's 4th on the striker depth chart. I mean, it's David, Larin, Ugbo, hands down. And then there's in my opinion, a pretty decent gap to Cavallini. Then you can have Akinola. And if you want to count Jebison, Cavallini's a similar player to me, like Daniel Henry is. I mean, drop him down. That was before that. I don't think you're going to see John Herdman walk away from role players that got him here, especially with an expanded roster. There's 26 players. Odds are if they play how Herdman wants to for these 3 games, we're going to see like 18-ish players actually get valuable minutes. Unless they lose all their matches and towards the end of the game, they just start throwing players on just to give them a World Cup feel. Other than that, I mean, bringing that 19 to 26, those 7 players, whether it's Koleosho, who's going to maybe use to cap a very young talent, give them experience, or 2 veteran guys who were here for the run, or locker room guys, that's the kind of role that that Cavallini and Henry will play. In my opinion, I don't know if there's a specific situation that either one will be very useful. And if there is, it's going to be up to one really late in the match, throwing a Cavallini to hold up the ball. That is his role. Hopefully be a good locker room guy when it comes to maybe getting nitty and gritty towards the end of the game. That's where Cavallini comes on to hold up the ball, draw a foul, get under the skin of a frustrated team looking for a result. And Henry's sort of the same, but just at the back to try to lock it down. But if you're asking me, I mean, I think Cavallini can do that role well because he's a big boy. Henry, I'd rather just throw on like a Waterman, Cornelius, Kennedy, take your pick. But yeah, I think this roster, whenever it decides to drop, will tell us a lot about those 2 players specifically. But I have very, very low expectations that they won't be involved. I truthfully think both will be there. If you guys are just joining us today, though, guys, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub if you're new to the channel. There's 100 of you guys here. And from what I understand, maybe 10 minutes or so, hopefully. And then then the roster will come out. We shall see. Hey, Jay, what's the story behind the Halifax? Shout out to the Canadian Premier League. They sent me some gear. They got the York United, got the Halifax, got the CPL hat, got a nice one soccer hat, got a bunch of jerseys, Calvary, a Kyle Becker jersey, and I got a bunch of hats too. Yeah, so shout out to the CPL for giving me some cool and a scarf, a bunch of cool stuff. So made the office, I think, a little bit better, a little more Canadian soccer based. I like it. We need an actual youth program. That's a big one. Like I said, I just completed filming a dual national video that I'm very excited to do. It talks about Tomori, it talks about Mitrovic, Flores, Koleosho, Jebison, Holmes, and it talks about specific reasons why or what they did or didn't represent Canada or what the future's holding. It was a very fun video to put together. But Paul, it's a good point. It's a youth program. It's part of the reason I think that it was difficult for someone like Mitrovic to represent Canada. Obviously, he represented Serbia at the youth level, really developed his chances, his pathway to become a professional in Serbia. All that can play into consideration when you're looking maybe to reward one of the 2 nations to where you got. You're going to maybe do it to the one that probably helped you a little bit more. So, I mean, yeah, our youth program, hopefully slowly improving, but definitely a area for improvement for sure. Waterman over Henry for me. And yeah, guys, the leaks are there. I mean, I think that's very positive news. The leaks are there that Joel Waterman was called up to this game. We're going to find out soon, but I think that's big. It's big. I told you I was worried about basically Herdman and kind of relying on the guys that he always relies on, because I was just nervous that he, for some reason, that was going to overlook Waterman, because he did it last camp, and I just had a gut feeling he might do it again. So it's really positive news from what we're hearing that he will be in the camp, man. And here it is. And here it is, guys. Finally it's here. Let's get it up for you guys. Where's the squad? Where's the squad, guys? Drop a like. Say hello. This is it. Different. All right. They did it different. Okay. I'm not going to look at it yet. I'm going to share it on the screen. I'm not going to look at the chat either. Let's take a look finally at the most important window. Oh, I'm a little nervous. All right. Let's see what it looks like. Looks good for you guys. All right. Going to give her a little retweet. Let's take a look. Who's involved? So, and can someone do me a quick favor and just count the number and just put it in the chat? Just say 26, 25. I want to know how many people are there. Look at the forwards compared to the midfield. Wow. But all right. So the keepers, Borian, Crepeau, Sinclair, no surprise. Those are the three, hands down. Defenders, you have Atakubi, Cornelius, Davies, Johnston, Kennedy, Larea, Miller, Vittoria, Joel Waterman. Big shout out. No Holmes. Probably expected. You guys are saying there's 27. 27, okay. Interesting. For some reason, I thought he was going to go 26 on the dot. But yeah, I mean, he brought every center back pretty much, man. Like, you got Atakubi at left back. He didn't bring Edwards. So, like we were kind of speculating, that was the person that needed to be dropped, because Edwards is that extra body that you can kind of shift people in there if you're absolutely desperate. Atakubi is your left back. If it goes to probably another left back that can slide in there, well, you just brought three left-footed center backs. Kamal Miller can play at a left back. Davies, as we know, can play as a left back. Davies will feature as a wing back as well. So that was a player who sacrificed to bring in someone like Joel Waterman. You brought in Cornelius as a center back. You got Miller. You got Kennedy. Those are your three outside lefties. You got Vittoria through the middle. There's no Daniel Henry. I just noticed that. Oh, I just noticed that. John Herdman leaves out Daniel Henry. Wow. Huh. Come on, I was just focused on Waterman. I didn't even notice that. That takes balls, man. That takes balls. Henry has just not been doing it. Joel Waterman deserves this call-up. I like it. No disrespect to Henry, man, but that's a big call for someone who's obviously been a Canadian men's national team player for a very long time and holds a special heart with John Herdman. But let's just take a quick look at the defenders. Like I mentioned, if you need a left back, it's Atakubi, and then it's maybe Miller or Davies if need be, but probably simply just Atakubi. For your center backs, your outside left, or maybe even your central in the back three, you can go Cornelius, Miller, Kennedy. Your central center back, you now have options. You can go Steven Vittoria, you can go Joel Waterman. Outside right, you got Alistair Johnston and Joel Waterman. Such an important player to have in that. I'm so excited he was included. And then yeah, at right back, you can go Richie Larea and you can go Alistair Johnston, and that covers them all. Atakubi, Cornelius, Davies, Johnston, Kennedy, Larea, Miller, Vittoria, Waterman. Love it. You can tell that the injuries were coming through the midfield. You got Stephen Eustachio, Mark-Anthony Kaye, Ismail Kone, Jonathan Osorio, Samuel Piette. Piette's been in great form. Osorio, the leaks were basically saying that he was going to be fit for this. It's good to see that he's back. Ismail Kone, part of that flying CF Montreal side, deserves to come in. Mark-Anthony Kaye was never in doubt. He's a regular for the national team. Yes, not an unbelievable form, but he's there. And of course, Stephen Eustachio. No Atiba Hutchinson. No Liam Fraser. Very small midfield, man. Tells me maybe we're going to play like a 4-4-2 a little bit. because we don't have a lot of depth there. And then you look at the forwards, and Charles Andreas Brim kind of wrote him off a little bit. Tejan Buchanan, Lucas Cavallini, Theo Corbianu, Jonathan David, Junior Hoylett, Luca Koleosho, Kyle Larin, Liam Miller, EK Ugbo. Rounds it up, man. So Brim, I mean, Brim's surprising for me. I guess for me, he'd be like the 27th guy. He got his move back to FC Eindhoven. He's playing again. So, I mean, you're going to have someone who's going to be in form. Buchanan was included, which I guess the leaks were wrong about that. I'm not sure what exactly. Maybe that's why they brought the 27th man, Brim Buchanan. Maybe see where Buchanan's at. Have him with the group. If he's not fit, in my opinion, is probably why Brim is there. But I'm very intrigued to see where Buchanan's at. Cavallini, like I said, I would have been surprised. I'm floored, though, that they left out Henry. Corbiano deserved call-up. Incredible start to his season in the championship. David, Hoylett, of course. Luca Koleosho, which we already knew. Kyle Larin, Liam Miller, EK Ugbo. All right. That is a damn near perfect side. Let's get your guys' thoughts and opinions. First off, straight up, give me a rating. Out of 10, give me a rating of what you think this is. Oh, man. I don't know what to say. I'm going to say 9.5. Let's go. All right. So, yeah, appreciate you guys said there's 27 on the roster. Shocked about Brim. I personally would have called someone playing. Yeah, but for me, like I said, he's probably the 27th guy. I'm assuming Brim is there because he's a winger. He's on decent form. He earned a move up to the Eredivisie, going back down because he just wasn't getting game time. He's gonna be one of those players on the outside that's kind of here to round up the squad, but I'm assuming he's here because maybe they don't know exactly what they're gonna get from Buchanan. I don't know. I can only speculate. 26 and a half. Osorio made it. No Atiba. No, there was rumors that he wasn't gonna be there. No Henry. Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure if Henry is injured. I thought in the last TFC game let's find out. Let's see. I want to take a peek if he was in the last TFC squad. I remember seeing him on the bench, and I thought he came in. So against Portland, Henry was there. He was on the bench. He didn't get subbed in, so I don't know if he would have picked up a knock. This honestly feels like he was just dropped. But let me know if you guys hear anything about him being injured. But I don't know. He was on Toronto's bench, wasn't included unless he got injured some other way. But I don't really remember hearing anything about that. Wheeler was wrong about Buchanan's exclusion, but remains to be seen. Yeah. I mean, that's, like I said, that I was shocked because I thought he was going to just go with 26. You can bring 26. You might as well find out who your guys are. But because he included Buchanan, remember, Buchanan is in Europe. He's literally in Belgium. There's a good opportunity. It's not hard to get to the camp. So whether he plays or not, well, then there's Brim. There's your 26 guy. Keep him in the loop. Give him some confidence getting called in. There's your extra winger. And we're going to have to wait and see what happens with Tejan. Reports were that Henry might be injured. Could be. That would make more sense to me. I'm simply shocked. Simply shocked that he wasn't included. Fonzie listed as a defender. Yeah, no. Should be I guess he should be in the midfield or forward. No Atiba. We don't need to see what he's capable of. No, he's just basically focused on getting back fit. He had some scares there with maybe freezing his contract. It never happened. He's now back and registered with Besiktas, hopefully getting back to full health. We know what Atiba's going to bring. If he's fit, he's at the World Cup. No ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see until more reports come out. I don't know. I don't know when the injury would have taken place. It seemed like he was on the bench. He wasn't substituted in the last match. Me personally, very surprised if he was truly dropped. If he's injured, I feel like that makes more sense. I just didn't think Herdman would have dropped them. So good to see Theo back. Well earned after a positive start in the championship. Henry isn't even playing over McNaughton. No, he's not. But like I said, I mean, Herdman's got his guys. He's got his guys that got him here. In my opinion, Henry, Cavallini, we're never going to be dropped. That's why I'm waiting to see. Maybe I can find a little bit more information about Henry. But if he's not injured, I'm a little surprised. Cornelius is a great call up. I agree. I've been a big fan of seeing him and his progression through the Greek league right now. I don't know how much game time he'll actually get, especially with players like Miller and Kennedy above him now, introducing Joel Waterman. Going to really want to see what he can do this window. But I think Cornelius, with his start to the season, deserved to be here, and I'm personally happy that he is. Koleosho's a big one, as we know. Really excited to hopefully see him play. Remember, these are friendly matches. Qatar and, of course, Uruguay. They won't cap tie Koleosho, but if things are going right and he can make an influence, maybe he goes to the World Cup, and then he will be capped. With Larea and Davies out, mid-list is thinner. It is. I mean, like I said, depending on the system, like you play a 4-4-2, Brim, Buchanan, Corbianu, Hoylett, Koleosho, Miller can all play as the outside right and left mid. So your midfielders, like these are all center mids. So you have 5 center mids. Eustachio, K, Kone, Osorio, Piet. Like it is a little light, but depending on the system, especially if it's a 4-4-2 or even a 3-4-3, you play with 2 main midfielders, you're still probably okay. You can even put in like Hoylett in there if you need to as well. So it's not overly worrying, but you know, it's definitely thin, and we knew it was going to be thin. But Herman had the opportunity to call up someone like Liam Fraser as that 27th man, and he opted to go with Brim, which maybe for these matches kind of insists that 2-man midfield could be an option. I don't really know. Yeah, Davies is listed as defender. He'll never play in a back four. Promise you that. All things considered, no longer produce Canadians good enough for Canada outside of Cavallini. Where will Osorio and Larea play in October and November if they stay fit? If I'm looking to fit them both into a starting 11, it has to be, I mean, it's difficult in my opinion, but it would have to be like a 3. If Osorio plays, it has to be a 3-man midfield. So it has to be like a 3-5-2. It'd be like Borjan and net, Larea at right wing back, Johnston, Vittoria, Miller, Davies at left wing back, and then your 3-man midfield, you balance it out. So you have Osorio along with like a K and a Eustachio, something like that. And then you have 2 strikers. So whether it's Buchanan and David or Laren and David, to be something like that. Difficult to fit both in. But I asked you guys what you thought. Gave it a rating out of 10 for this 27-man Canadian call-up. Got 9.5 from me. 9.75, 9, 10, 9, 8. Okay, a little rough there, but then followed by a few 10s as well. 4-4-2 diamond with David as a 10, given the lack of midfield. I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm assuming I don't think he'll use many systems that he's not comfortable with. I'm expecting 2 systems this upcoming window. 3-5-2, 4-4-2. That 3-man midfield, like I said, could include like an Osorio or a 4-4-2 having like a K and Eustachio with your... It almost seems like this is set up for a 4-4-2. Ryan's not impressed. There's no Jebo. 9, in my opinion, missing Atiba. Yeah, but like again, if Atiba was fit, he'd be there. Wanted Jebo over Brim, but I'm happy. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice. No Holmes, guess he's not eligible. It's not that he's not eligible. It's just, again, from like what we were able to dig up, it seems like there's a pathway for him to be able to represent Canada, but there's no guarantee that will ever happen. So he's got Canadian on his grandmother's side. If certain documentation can be found and it can be proven, then there's a chance for him to do it. But there's a lot of steps that need to be taken place. And the 2022 World Cup just came too quickly. Maybe that documentation will never be found and he can never represent Canada. I don't know that. But I'm pretty sure and pretty hopeful that one day it'll be found. So who knows when it would be. But yeah, it's a huge question mark. That's why Holmes would have been a true shock. But I don't know. If there was a roster delay for any type of reason, I'm assuming maybe it was Jebsen. And, just didn't happen. Theo is a massive W too. Yeah, man, he's been a workhorse. You watch some of the goals he scored with Blackpool, man. He's been a pressing machine. Just a real team player. Someone who Herman, I mean, if you're watching any of those performances, knowing John Herman, he's getting him back involved for sure. If Buchanan isn't fit, I could see a 3-5-2, otherwise a 3-4-3. Yeah, I mean, if Buchanan's not fit, I mean, yeah, you go Laren, David up front, Osorio, Eustachio, K through the midfield, Davies. But 3-4-3 is nice as well, because then you can put Atakubi at left wing back. You can push Davies to left wing. Maybe put Corbiano at right wing or Laren and then David through the middle. This specific roster, because of the lack of depth in the midfield, almost, could suggest a 3-4-3, but I don't really know. I can always speculate, but Herdman will do something different the way that he does. Who's going to play instead of Hutchinson? If I'm going to two-man midfield, I'm putting Eustachio in K. I think that they played together there before. They balance each other out well. If you want to go real defensive, maybe, it's probably in the World Cup. You can always put Piet in there. He's on good form. You go three-man midfield, you can toss Osorio in there, then have like a K and Eustachio. They all kind of balance each other out a little bit. But I wouldn't really go like an Osorio or Eustachio in a two-man midfield. I think that it would get kind of dominated by whoever we play. Based on quality, Henry should be nowhere near the pitch. It's like I said. I don't know. I would love to hear go through the presser after here. I'm assuming questions have to be asked in the press conference about Henry and why he's not in camp. If he was simply dropped because John Herdman looked at his form, I'd be floored. I'd just simply be surprised. But if he was dropped because of injury, to me that makes more sense, because I just be surprised. Big fan of Brim's game. I am too. I was hoping he could maybe take a step this year and play in the Eredivisie. That was kind of the dream. I really wish that FC Eindhoven got promoted last year. I feel like if they got promoted, obviously he would have stuck with them. He would have been a starter, and then he would have been playing at a more competitive level. He got his move. He saw his near future involved almost no minutes, so he took the opportunity to go back. So respect for him to at least try to play, but it's difficult. We got a nice donation on the channel from my boy Kelly. I'm donating today because I'm happy AF. Are you happy AF? Send Josh a coffee. Go Canada, go. Appreciate the donation, my man. I will definitely go pick up a nice Timmy's coffee. But yeah, man, I'm very happy. I was really curious what this roster would look like, and I'm happy. I had a lot of question marks around it. For me, the biggest one was fitting in Joel Waterman. And who did that mean that was going to have to be sacrificed? The answer was Henry. Whether, like I said, through injury or not, he was who's sacrificed. That makes this back line better. Lose a little bit of leadership, maybe. I think Borjan, Davies, and company can pick up the slack. What's the midfield going to look like? The answer is light. But you were able to include someone like Ismail Kone. Really excites me. Some of the injury players, like Hutch wasn't there, but Osorio came in. Buchanan's here. Will he play? I don't know. Who's going to round out the forwards? Cavallini was still included. You were able to bring in a dual national. Luca Kolyosho, huge opportunity for him. There's a lot to like, man. There's a lot to like about this. Do you think Laren will be getting more chances with Club Brugge in the future? Maybe. It's a congested window. We saw him get a start, saw him score a goal, but then we didn't even see him come off the bench in a 4-0 win against Porto. So I think it kind of depends around, I guess, just simply that what the coach is feeling and around the match days, because I don't know, going from getting your start, scoring a goal, and then just not being looked at for a Champions League match after being out 4-0. I really don't know, man. Hey, Josh, have you considered trying to reach out to Holmes to see if you can get an interview with him? I did think about doing that, and I might see if Holmes, if you're watching, my man, I'll check your inbox. I'll maybe send a message. I'll see what I can do. There's specific routes you have to go through for getting interviews with players, so I can put in a queue and see if he'll bite. But I don't know, when it involves international futures, sometimes players are a little tight-lipped, especially when they don't know. But I'll see what I can do. Was supposed to have Mitrovic on. Was supposed to do a nice video on Mitrovic and have him on for an interview, but he decided not to, and obviously now I know it's because he wasn't, maybe back then he was thinking of representing Serbia and, didn't want to come out here and say the wrong thing, which I can absolutely respect. But yeah, I don't know. The international future when you're a dual national is challenging. It's why I just put together this dual national video that makes it difficult, because it's a very touchy subject and you don't want to get caught saying the wrong thing. Remember when Cavallini got caught saying how he wished he didn't ever represent Canada? Like, it's, there's like we forgave him, but like there's specific things you don't want to do to make people go against you. And being a dual national, you want to keep your options open. Mitrovic did that. I think he would have been welcome on either national team, and he went with Serbia. So 9.5 Arfield over Piet. Arfield will never play for our national team again. My man is retired. Not to be negative, but this is a disappointing roster. I see cons and pros. Really disappointing. Elaborate, my man. When I look at this roster, I don't see a ton of cons. Anything that's on there, like Atiba not being there, isn't by choice. Like bringing on, I don't know. For me, bringing on Joel Waterman is big. I think that's a smart decision. Leaving out Henry, I think it makes the back line better. The midfield's a little late, but I mean, like I said, Hutch wasn't available. Brim for me, again, a question mark, but I think it's simply because Buchanan, we don't know what his fitness is like. I was never expecting Cavallini or Henry to get dropped, so the fact that Cavallini there isn't a surprise. You brought in a dual national like Kolyosho. Jebison, yes, maybe we were excited for him to come in, but at the end of the day, I don't think he'll be playing for England anytime soon. So he's still a target for us for this upcoming World Cup. If we're going to bring a young dual national, let's bring one that will take him out of the reach of the U.S. Simple as that. I don't know. For me, there's not a lot of cons. Like, I don't mind leaving off Raheem Edwards. Like I said, I think there's coverage there from Miller, from Davies. Depending if Buchanan's fit, he can play as a left wing back. I don't know, man. In the dual Nat. Well, I mean, like I said, and guys, just so everyone's clear, there is no firm evidence that Holmes will ever become eligible. Like I said, there's a pathway, but it doesn't mean anything. So, yes, it would have been very cool to see Holmes get called up, but we don't know. We don't know if he'll ever get those documentations in to make him eligible. So it's not really fair to think that him not being in here is an L because we don't know if he can ever actually play for Canada. The other one is Jebison. But again, both him and Kolyosho are two very young, talented players that aren't playing or impacting their current club. It's just a fact. They're kind of ones for the future. England, Canada, chances are Jebison's going to one day play for Canada. And then the U.S., Canada, that's a much closer battle to go for a dual national like Luka. We got him in the most important camp before the World Cup. Maybe offering him a World Cup spot. I don't know. You got to do things to tie down dual nationals like this, and you got to be strategic about it. So I think for a dual nat perspective, it's a W. It is. Kelly's pumped about Waterman. Arfield, no, not a Canadian men's national team. Interested to see why Tom Holmes wasn't picked. Yeah, guys, we don't even know if he applied. Like, again, there's just too many uncertainties. Maybe I'll try to get him on, get a little bit more clarity, but there's so many uncertainties. Holmes really shouldn't be. It's fun to speculate and hope maybe behind the scenes they found the documentation and whatever they need to be eligible. But like I said, man, we just don't know. We don't know if he can ever play for Canada one day. So he's on the back burner for right now. We'll have to see what happens in the future. Jebison, there is a direct route. We know that he can play for Canada if he files his switch. That's where he could have been an option. Same as Kolyosho. We don't know that for Holmes. But we got Joel Waterman, man. It's a big day for the CPL. That's why I'm rocking the hat. This is a guy who came through Calgary, crushed it there, got to move to CF Montreal, crushed it there. Now he deservingly gets called up to the national team. Very excited for him. Really, really cool. And that's kind of the whole thing behind the CPL. It's a cool story, man. It's a big day for the CPL, big day for Waterman as well. Kone, Waterman, Kolyosho, so glad to see these boys made it. I agree. I love how Davies can play all over the place, so Herdman can slot him in wherever he needs. Yeah. Left wing, right wing, striker. Left wing back, right wing back. Left back, I guess, if you're desperate. Cloak says Henry is listed as injured. Okay. So if that's the case, that makes a lot more sense. I trust Cloak's reporting, so I'm assuming he obviously knows. So that makes sense. Like I said, I would have been floored. I said it yesterday. I'd have been floored if Cavallini or Henry was left off, but just simply due to form. So it seems like Henry was left off due to an injury, which is, less surprising because, you can't call him up. You got to look elsewhere. So that was when we heard the rumors that both Cornelius and Waterman were going to be included. That's what got me. I'm like, okay, so who's left out? Where's this going? It had to be Edwards, but it had to be somebody else too. If you're going to bring up Kennedy and it turned out it was Henry, but it was due to injury. So something to keep an eye on, seeing how they perform before the World Cup to see if Henry does gain his place back. About to see. Shout out to Joel Waterman. He gave me fruit gushers in high school. Gave me fruit gushers in high school. Wow. Yeah, he's a BC boy. The man that came out of the trenches and beat the odds. Very cool, man. Joel Waterman gave me fruit gushers in high school. What a beauty. That is so funny. Yeah, I'm really happy for Joel Waterman. A lot of us were pretty disappointed when he didn't get called up in the last window. Clearly deserves an opportunity, and this is going to be it. I really hope we can find a way to get him on the pitch a little bit. But man, that's big. Laird knows and fits his system and has been training with Bruges. Russell Tybert, yeah. I don't know if I don't think Tybert retired, but I don't think he'll ever get called up again. How do you feel about offering a World Cup spot to a promising dual nat that isn't ready yet but has promise? I answer that in the video I just did, so I don't want to give anything away. So great question, AJ. It's a great question. Everyone's got different opinions on it. I literally answer this exact question around Colio Show for the video I just recorded. It'll be out Sunday on One Soccer's YouTube channel. It's literally around dual nationals. It's a great question. It's kind of what video is somewhat based upon. So I won't answer it now to spoil it, but keep an eye on that video. I think it'll be an interesting one. 0% chance, yeah. Yeah, I feel bad for someone like ZBG, can't get in the squad, overloaded in that position. Yeah. And to be fair, I mean, ZBG, it's not like he's playing week in, week out at CF Montreal. I mean, you got players like Alistair Johnston, Joel Waterman, Piet, Miller, even Kone, like a lot of Canadians. Chouanier, who's not even, in my opinion, quite near getting a call up yet. ZBG is, yeah, man, he's a little ways away. It's a shame, but he had a good match in his last outing, but I don't think we're going to see him in the national team in these type of big windows. Only worrying thing is that we have Adekubi as our left back and not really a backup. Don't want Miller as the backup. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if you play in a back four, you're kind of right. I mean, it's Adekubi, and ideally you don't need to play Miller there, and you don't want Davies there. I 100% agree. But if worse comes to worse, and I mean, you play in a back four, you got Adekubi, great, set, match. But if you need to shift it around, that's where the versatility comes in a little bit, because you can just turn it into a back three. You can put Miller, Kennedy, or Cornelius on the outside left, and then you can put Davies up there at left wing back. You can put Adekubi there, but you can also, if Buchanan's fit, you can put him there. Like, there's a lot of flexibility you can do, and you're expecting Davies to play most minutes. So if you're desperate, I think that was the logic. We did it yesterday. A lot of you guys were on here. We're talking about who was going to be dropped to fit in Joel Waterman. And we kind of all collectively thought Raheem Edwards, because he's probably the outside left back looking in right now. His form slipped a little bit with the Galaxy. And I just felt like there is specific coverage if you really need to. You got Davies, you got Miller, but like I said, you can switch the system a little bit into that back three and you're kind of set. Do you think you'll be doing collab videos to preview and break down the upcoming World Cup and Uruguay match? Yeah, I mean, for the upcoming matches, guys, we'll have previews, we'll have the watch-alongs, and we'll have our 5 takeaway videos for both matches. Also have a special announcement for you guys who are here. We've created a Group F panel. So we got a representative from Morocco, we have a representative from Croatia, and we have a representative from Belgium coming on, and we're going to be basically taking a look at the World Cup leading the squad, and basically everything surrounding our specific national teams leading up. We'll be coming together. We'll be talking about it leading up to the World Cup, talking about it hopefully after some matches as well. So I'm really excited for that. You can probably guess who some of the guests will be, but yeah, we have it. We have it on the back burner right now, and I'm hoping maybe to get the first episode of the Group F panel out soon. Really excited for that, to get a real insight on our upcoming World Cup opponents. But specifically for this next week, yeah, I mean, the previews I might bring on, like Alex, of course, maybe Peter and those kind of guys for our previews for Uruguay and Qatar, watch-alongs, 5 takeaways, all that fun stuff. But for the World Cup, we got those 3 to rely on for our panel. We'll have them on for previews, maybe the breakdowns as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. Really excited for that. Hopefully to getting it out soon. Love for Buchanan as a Revs fan. Yeah, Revs did a lot for him, man. Group F panel, nice. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Is Canada going to play the 5-3-2? I mean, technically they'd be a 3-5-2, but like I said, if you're asking me what system, I'm going 3-5-2-4-4-2, something along those lines. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, I streamed for an hour and 40 minutes yesterday. and now I've been going for 50 minutes. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. If you haven't done so yet, drop a like on the stream, drop a sub if you're new to the channel. It's always appreciated, and look forward to those things coming up. Previews, watch-alongs, 5 takeaways for the upcoming matches. The Group F panel will hopefully have some videos going out soon, and we'll be using those guys to break down the upcoming, of course, World Cup matches. We'll be watch-alongs, fun videos like that, of course, and any breaking news, I'll try to go live as I usually do. So that is it. This stream worked. We got the roster out, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and you stuck with me yesterday and today. Always appreciated. On your way out, like I mentioned, hopefully you guys are excited. And yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers, friends. I have a nice goodbye. Thanks for watching. All right, bye, friends.